On November 28th, Beijing, the capital of China, grandly welcomed the inaugural China International Supply Chain Promotion Expo. However, against the backdrop of continuous outflow of foreign capital and a gradually declining economy, the expo appeared more like a cleverly packaged celebration of an ending era, a superficial revelry. Following the US-China summit in San Francisco and the APEC meeting, the Chinese government announced its intention to closely link China's economy with the global market and advocated for foreign investment. In this context, the upcoming Supply Chain Expo seems to be an attempt by the Chinese Communist Party to create an illusion of China's ongoing prosperity and global market appeal, in a bid to retain foreign capital and dominate the global supply chain. Despite some countries remaining under the illusion, the Western trend of moving away from reliance on the Chinese supply chain has become an irreversible movement. Meanwhile, China's weakening economy and increasingly stringent authoritarian rule further urge foreign capital to leave. Hosted for the first time by the CCP government, the Expo, themed Linking the World, Creating the Future, is touted as the world's first national-level exhibition focusing on supply chains. Covering an area of 100,000 square meters, it features 5 major chains: intelligent automotive chain, green agricultural chain, clean energy chain, digital technology chain, health living chain, and a supply chain service zone. Zhang Xiaogang, vice chairman of the China Council for the Promotion of International Trade, held a press conference on the 21st, announcing a total of 515 participating companies, 26% of which are foreign, covering 55 countries and regions. Zhang stated that U.S. companies actively responded, accounting for 20% of foreign exhibitors, including top Fortune 500 companies like Apple, Amazon, Tesla, and FedEx. During the opening ceremony, Chinese Premier Li Qiang firmly opposed protectionism and all forms of decoupling and supply chain disruption. He emphasized the CCP's deeper integration into the global industrial and supply chain system and pledged more conveniences and better guarantees for foreign enterprises investing in China. Coincidentally, on the eve of the expo, U.S. President Biden announced the establishment of the White House Supply Chain Resilience Committee on November 27th, unveiling nearly 30 new measures to strengthen support for supply chains, playing key roles in the U.S. economy and national security. White House Economic Advisor Brainerd stated at a press briefing on November 26th that these measures would enhance the resilience of American supply chains and reduce costs for U.S. households. The U.S. emphasizes the diversification of supply chains, moving away from centralizing manufacturing supply chains in China, the former world's factory, and dispersing them to other countries. With the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war and China's potential provocations in the Taiwan Strait aligning with the U.S. opposition, these actions have introduced risks to the global supply chain. Additionally, China's strict pandemic controls heightened global awareness of the risks posed by over-reliance on a single country for supply chains. In fact, the U.S. move to strengthen supply chain resilience originated from a 2017 report requested by President Trump, asking the Department of Defense to strengthen U.S. national defense supply chain security. Under Biden's administration, a report was again published in 2021 to bolster American supply chains and enhance economic resilience. It appears that disengaging from China's supply chain has become a global trend. This expo was met with enthusiastic acclaim online in China. However, many professionals have expressed skepticism, viewing the event as nothing more than a glorified facade in the face of serious economic challenges. They argue that the expo is merely a propaganda tool aimed at creating a false image of popularity to attract more foreign investment, while the reality is that a significant amount of foreign capital is rapidly withdrawing from China. Media reports suggest that in the first 7 months of 2023 alone, over 3/4 of the foreign capital inflow into the Chinese stock market had withdrawn, with global investors selling more than $25 billion in Chinese stocks. Despite promises from Beijing of more substantial economic policy support, foreign investment in the Chinese stock market, which peaked at 235 billion yuan, about $32.6 billion in August, dropped to just 54.7 billion yuan, about $7.7 billion by November. The exodus is not limited to the financial sector. Many international pharmaceutical companies have announced plans to exit the Chinese market and shift their focus to India. High-profile exits from China in the past 2 years, including Airbnb, LinkedIn, Mitsubishi, and Gallup, reflect deepening concerns across industries about the Chinese market. The Expo, set against this backdrop, faces uncertainty regarding its success and completion. In 2020, China experienced embarrassingly sparse attendance at its expos. The third China International Import Expo, held in Shanghai in November of that year, was met with empty booths and a lack of international dignitaries and media coverage, despite Grand Prix event publicity and President Xi Jinping's claims of expanding China's openness to the world, including the claim that in the next 10 years, China is expected to import products worth 22 trillion yuan. Videos circulated online showed more staff than visitors at the expo, with some workers so idle they resorted to sleeping on tables. One visitor commented mockingly on the deserted state of what was supposed to be a bustling event. Furthermore, the expo even witnessed instances of impersonation among exhibitors, with stalls selling local products like beef jerky and caterpillar fungus, which were poorly packaged and sold as retail rather than business-to-business transactions. Once internationally favored, the Made in China label has seen a drastic shift in perception. The Chinese government is forced to acknowledge the increasing exodus of foreign businesses and capital fleeing China, following policies perceived as hostile to foreign investment, such as pandemic lockdown measures, US-China competition, and the anti-espionage law. Currently, with a decrease in Chinese exports and a shift in supply chains, there has been a sharp decline in new domestic job creation, particularly affecting youth unemployment rates. This situation has led to several months of zero or even negative growth in the consumer price index and a downturn in domestic demand. Consequently, China's economic activities and fundraising efforts have slowed, causing financially weak businesses to collapse and exacerbating the already unhealthy state of the supply chains. This series of economic problems has created a vicious cycle, posing significant challenges to China's overall economic situation. Furthermore, the expansion of the anti-espionage law by the Chinese government this year has intensified the trend of foreign capital withdrawal from China. Luisa Santos, Deputy Director General of Business Europe, representing businesses across the European Union, has warned that new laws restricting data flow out of China and the severe penalties for those accused under the revised law are causing concern among foreign investors. Foreign business associations have complained that China's new laws on cross-border data flow are too vague, hindering multinational companies from conducting normal business and research activities in line with their international operations. China's management of its macroeconomy is seemingly out of control, with contradictory messages of welcoming foreign businesses while simultaneously emphasizing anti-espionage efforts. Videos played on China's high-speed trains warn passengers to be careful not to inadvertently disclose sensitive information when posting photos on social media. Government agencies handling everyday affairs have posters reminding citizens to build a solid national security defense line. In Yunnan province, a local government released a video featuring men and women dressed in traditional Yi ethnic costumes, singing and dancing to promote China's national security law. Failure to report what you know will lead to legal consequences. Sheltering criminals will result in imprisonment. The performers sing and dance, with female actors swaying in their brightly colored yellow, blue, and red skirts. China's anti-espionage campaign is vigorous, with a large-scale online propaganda effort. Social media platforms like Weibo, WeChat, Douyin, and Xiaohongshu are flooded with various anti-espionage films and information, even targeting minors to be particularly wary of foreigners' actions and speech. Spies might be around you. They could be online friends with shared interests, intimate lovers, or kind-hearted people offering you opportunities to earn extra money. Beware of sexual bribes, seduction, emotional manipulation, and online connections. These are excerpts from the numerous anti-espionage propaganda videos recently released by Chinese officials online. In addition to animated films, there are images on social media, including propaganda pictures from years ago, asking students to monitor family members. Against a backdrop of increasing scrutiny and suspicion towards foreigners in China, foreign enterprises have become a major focus of investigations by the Chinese government. In March this year, Chinese authorities raided the Beijing office of the US-based investigative firm Mintz Group, detaining all 5 Chinese employees. Mintz Group announced the closure of its Beijing operations following the detention, and since then, the company has been unable to contact its employees. 8 months later, insiders reveal that Mintz Group is still actively trying to secure the release of the detained Chinese staff, whose whereabouts remain unknown. The New York headquartered Mintz Group provides due diligence services for businesses before acquisitions or other major investments, including background checks, asset tracking, and investigations into fraud and corruption. The firm, with over 450 professional investigators, operates across 18 global offices. Such investigative activities have long been under the scrutiny of Chinese authorities. In 2013, British investigator Peter Humphrey and his American wife and business partner Yu Yingzheng were arrested in Shanghai. The couple operated China Wise, a firm specializing in corporate investigations for multinational companies. They were charged with infringing on citizens' rights by obtaining private information and ultimately served 2 years in prison before being allowed to leave China. Following the implementation of the new version of the anti-espionage law in July, the frequency of investigations into foreign enterprises and the detention of their staff in China have intensified. In April, Chinese authorities conducted a surprise inspection of the Shanghai office of Bain & Company, one of the world's top 3 management consulting firms. The specific reasons for the police visit to Bain's office, and whether it was related to the company itself or its clients, remain unclear. Bain & Company, headquartered in Massachusetts, employs over 200 staff in China, providing business advice to tech giants like Alibaba and emerging Chinese companies like Li Auto. Just a month later, consulting firm Capvision was accused of being an accomplice to foreign intelligence agencies. Officials initiated an investigation into the company, alleging its staff provided consulting services involving sensitive military information to overseas agencies. In October, the Chinese government officially announced the arrest of a male employee of Japanese pharmaceutical company, Astellas Pharma. He was detained by Beijing's Security Bureau in March on charges of espionage. The Japanese government stated that since 2015, at least 17 Japanese citizens, including 5 high-ranking officials of Astellas Pharma, have been detained in China for alleged espionage activities and remain in the country. With frequent actions by Chinese authorities, more and more foreign companies are operating in fear. Surveys have found that many companies are reducing their travel frequency to China, avoiding it where possible. A study related to the U.S. government found that nearly 1/5 of respondents are reducing business trips to China. Tammy Krings, president of ATG Travel Worldwide, noted that there has been a 25% increase in American companies canceling or postponing business trips to China in recent weeks. Dale Buckner, CEO of Global Guardian, revealed that over the past 8 months, some of his clients, including law firms, manufacturers, consulting firms, and other industry practitioners, have been detained or interrogated in Chinese airports or hotels, usually lasting between 2 to 5 hours. The deputy general manager of a well-known international accounting and management consulting firm based in Taipei, referred to as L, cautioned employees traveling to China. They were advised to be particularly cautious if they usually express strong pro-democracy and freedom views on social media. The company also provides a clean laptop with only the necessary content for the trip, emphasizing not to bring the company's regular laptops to China. L mentioned that employees are advised not to bring their regular phones into China, but to use an old or unused, clean phone, avoiding unnecessary software or social media apps, and ensuring no conversation records are stored to prevent the potential disclosure of business secrets or client privacy during random checks at Chinese customs. This measure is to protect employees' safety and ensure sensitive company information is not exposed, even if checked. With the expansion of the anti-espionage law this year, the trend of foreign capital withdrawal from China has become evident. Even the official data from the Chinese Communist Party, which has long been accused of being inflated, is becoming increasingly unflattering. The State Administration of Foreign Exchange of China reported that in the third quarter of this year, the metric for measuring foreign investment in China, direct investment liabilities, showed a deficit of $11.8 billion for the first time since the statistic began in 1998. The cumulative foreign direct investment in the first 9 months of this year was only $15 billion, a nearly 92% decrease from the total in 2022. These data points indicate the stark reality behind the bustling scene at China's first international supply chain expo. Amid the gradual economic downturn and continuous outflow of foreign capital, the expo has failed to mask the substantial issues and appears even more superficial. The expo, despite its claims of linking the world and creating the future, could not conceal the hasty departure of foreign enterprises and the continued decline in market confidence.